Welcome to Issues That Matter. Uh, Today is a day when I have my real good friends on, Scott Ritter, Diane Sayre, Jose Vega, and they're going to talk about the peace rallies that they're going to do this weekend in New York City. So, Scott, well, yours is on Sunday, Diane, yours is on Saturday. So you and Jose talk about what your rally is going to be about.
Okay, well, I think we're all doing both days. And I think it's really urgent because, as the Russians said, I believe a few weeks ago, we don't seem to have any circuit breakers. That's what keeps astounding me. It's clear that Ukraine, and Scott can elaborate this much more, has lost their war with Russia, which we pushed them into. But we want to continue the illusion that somehow they can win if we send them enough weapons or allow them to strike deep into Russia. The British and Americans say Putin has no red lines or he's just bluffing. Why they would say that, there is no basis to say that he's just bluffing. And then we have simultaneously the just most horrific genocide ongoing in Gaza, now northern Gaza, where the Israelis talk about this thing called the General's Plan, where if people refuse to evacuate, you simply cut off all food, all medicine, seal them, and let them die. And I know that the 6 different NGOs or nonprofit groups of medical doctors who had been going to Gaza have now all been banned by Israel. So, as an American citizen, you keep saying, well, where does it stop? Where is the line? Where do people say, no more, this cannot go on, I will not allow this in my name? And so far in the United States, we have not reached critical threshold. The congressmen, the politicians, which Jose and I are running against, seem to think that they can simply ignore the will of the majority of the voters who are wondering when our leaders are going to get around to dealing with emergencies here at home, like the hurricane that just hit or the collapse in healthcare or infrastructure. So what I was thinking, given my background as a musician, is there some way that we can laser focus like a chorus? We can take these divergent voices for peace and put this on a new level, create a powerful weapon to change the direction of policy. So I thought we could do something totally outrageous, which is rent a very large concert hall in New York City and invite the leading voices like Scott, like Colonel Wilkerson, Garland Nixon, Dennis Fritz, Ray McGovern, and also people like Jimmy Dore, Russ Dobular, Keaton Weiss, some leading musicians, and bring this to a new level. Because if you look at our choices in the election, well, I think it's clear that with Kamala and Dick and Liz Cheney, her satanic Halloween crew, we probably will be dead if they win. I don't think we're guaranteed survival with a Trump victory. And that means that the election is not the end. The election is not the resolution of anything, but that we have to actually continue and escalate beyond this. And so that's the conception of the event on Saturday, which is at 2 p.m. And I'm going to hold up here because maybe people can see it. That's where people can go to get information, vegasayrepeacefund.org, to get tickets and attend. But that's the idea. So there's going to be a lot of music, a lot of powerful speeches, and I'm hoping the combination of the two will create the conditions where people are empowered, ennobled to actually win this fight that we have to win. And I'm going to let Jose say more and Scott about also what's happening on Sunday, which is another dynamic of the same process.
Yeah,
Jose?
yeah. So I think Diane captured the 26th pretty well this Saturday. A lot of our favorite people are going to be there. Scott himself, of course, will be speaking, as well as Jimmy Dore, Russell Dobular, Keaton Weiss. Our friends at the Eisenhower Media Group will be speaking as well, such as Colonel Larry Wilkerson and Dennis Fritz, and a whole bunch of other people that are still yet to be announced as well. And this is, what we're doing on the 26th is part of an ongoing process of us that have been on the ground. For example, myself and some of the people who work on my campaign have been going to the United Nations early in the morning at 7 in the morning, meeting with the diplomats, meeting with the people who work at the missions, getting them before they're getting to their doors, telling them about the testimonies of the doctors who went to Gaza, some of which we've been working with personally, getting them places, organizing for them to be speaking at different events, both virtual and in person. And this thing on the 26th is a continuation of this constant process of escalating and escalating our organizing efforts. And that's just what I wanted to add on the 26th. And then on the 27th, which I will pass over to Scott to talk more about, which is that it'll be a brunch the day after with the panelists of the people who were speaking the day before. There'll be three panels, and I believe I will be moderating the third panel called Saving Democracy, but I'll leave it to Scott to talk more about what he's thinking for the next day.
Well, thank you for that. The 27th is something that came up when Diane and Jose invited me to I don't know if your system's working, or can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Diane and Jose invited me to participate in the event on the 26th, I thought, well, wait a minute, we have all this talent in New York City. Why not take advantage of it? I had various people have reached out, one of whom was the owner of this fantastic venue, Tudor City Steakhouse, who said he'd be willing to make the venue available, um, for functions. And I thought, well, if people are spending the night in New York City on Sunday, it's just natural for people to want to have breakfast or brunch. So I thought, why not have a brunch at the Tudor City Steakhouse and see if we can organize some panels. And this is a logical follow-on to the Operation Dawn um, exercise that was initiated on September 28th in Kingston, New York. Dawn, of course, standing for challenge to the American voters. What would you do to save democracy, to save America, to save the world through your vote in November? And so, looking at the talent that we have here, I went ahead and organized three panels now. Originally it was two, but we Judge Napolitano has come in, and some other people have said they'd like to be participating in this, and so we are going to have a panel on the defense of democracy. I think Jose Vega is going to be the moderator for that. So there's the D. We're going to have a panel on free speech, the assault on free speech. That's saving America. That's the A. And then we're going to have a panel on the danger of nuclear war. That's saving the world. There's your W. And the whole idea is through these panels to empower and educate people, both the people who are going to be present at this brunch and we are going to be recording this, and then we will have each panel packaged into a separate video, which will be broadcast, and made available. And again, the idea is to educate people about these issues so that they are empowered with knowledge and information when they go to the polls in November. And there's your end. So this is an Operation Dawn, follow up. The tickets can be found at scottritter.com. If you log in, you'll see there's a banner there. You just hit the green button that says buy a ticket. The tickets cost $100. Now, people might say, well, that's a lot of money. Not really. You're eating at one of the finest venues in New York City. By the time we do the cost of the meal, the taxes, the gratuity, we're talking about a $70 value right there. And then everybody who comes is going to get a challenge coin, Operation Dawn challenge coin. That's ostensibly a $20 value. And so we're looking at, a $10 overhead. And so for $10, you're going to get to see 3 world-class panels on issues that are as relevant as you can imagine. You're going to get to meet people, network people, be part of a community of people who all have shared values. So, I would encourage people to buy the tickets. I can say this, as of last week, before the weekend, we had already sold over 1/3 of the tickets. There's 120 tickets. Um, and once we sell 120 tickets, that's it. We can't sell anymore. So if you would like to come, if you think you'd like to participate in this, please go online, scottritter.com, and buy the ticket. And there's an option there too if you want to donate more. That would be great. I can tell you again, as you see, we're not operating on the greatest of margins here. The costs associated with getting a videographer, with getting sound people, with editing and making these these various podcasts or the panels, the video of the panels done professionally. It doesn't happen for free, and so anything you'd want to chip in to help with that would be greatly appreciated. But it's going to be a great event. We have fantastic lineup of people. Again, most of them are people who are staying over from Diane and Jose's panel. Jimmy Dore. Um, I mean, I'm thrilled that he's going to be. Say Garland Nixon's going to be there. Diane will be speaking. Jose will be moderating. We have Danny Haifong coming in. Jeff Norman, Russell. I'm just horrible with names, but Russell Dobular, Dennis Fritz, Larry Wilkerson. I mean, you're talking world class. You know, we're talking world class analysts here, world class participants. Randy Credico, the famous stand up comedian who's also on WBAI. And Judge Napolitano is going to be there, and I think there's one other guy. Yeah, Scott Ritter and Jeff Norman. We're from the Ask the Inspector podcast, but we'll be there as well. But I mean, we've packed. I've kept the panels down to 5 people plus a moderator. That'll give us plenty of time to get that make statements, questions, and take questions from the audience. We fully intend to have a period of time for the audience to ask questions, so it'll be a participation event. But I just think it's going to be. I'm amazed that it's come together like this. I went and did the reconnaissance on the venue on Sunday. It's a fantastic venue, and I encourage everybody to go who can make it.
So Diane, will your event be live streamed also?
Yes, yes, it will. It'll be live streamed probably through my and Jose's social media, YouTube, etc. Also, since there's so much international participation on the 26th, there will be a Zoom link for people around the world who need translation. And I'll tell you, I just watched this morning a beautiful submission from an Iranian musician playing a traditional two traditional stringed instruments, one that looks sort of like a ukulele that's plucked and another one that you play with a bow, singing. Anyway, the contributions are going to be very powerful. We also have a recitation of 2 poems by Palestinians, a folk song, a Jewish folk song, or just a canon. But the idea is, mankind is good. And it looks like people are trying to prove me wrong on that from some of our leaders in the West. But there's a reason why it's worth making sure that mankind does not exterminate itself. And that is because we are capable of improving our relationship with the universe and making incredible discoveries that make the lives of future generations richer. And I think we lose sight of that when we have people like the current administration and others behaving in such an ugly fashion and saying such ugly things and lying nonstop.
So, when you did the video last night, Jose was talking about how something like this can be shared on social networks. And Jose, explain what you did last night to our viewers on the power of social media and how this can be brought out to many people, because I mean, I don't think the whole world can come into New York City and listen to this. So how can people listen to this how could they share it on social media?
Well, I was just saying that I think, when people talk about, hey, let's help spread something in the social media or on the internet, what's required is not just posting it on your profile and hoping for the best, but really engaging, commenting, liking, sharing. That stuff helps break through the algorithm in some point because these platforms are relying on people staying on them. So, and in order for these things to be promoted, these social media networks have to think that people want to see it. So, assuming it's not all shadow banned either, that's just one of the tools that people have. Of course, I think the thing that works best is face-to-face street contact. But, if you can only be on social media for whatever reason, or if you think that's where you're strongest, or maybe you do have a large reach, you have to encourage people to like, comment, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, great. So, tell us where and when on Saturday and Sunday.
Diane, you wanna?
On Saturday, people will get the address after they get their tickets because a number of us, Scott, myself, and in fact, more than half of the speakers are on Ukrainian kill lists, and we're not going to broadcast it. But they can go to this website, the Vega Sayre Peace Fund, and get their tickets, which are $50. And also, like Scott's organization, you can donate more. It's a combined account for our campaigns, and we're only 2 weeks from the election today, excepting now that we have election season, everyone can vote whenever and wherever they want. So a lot of people have voted early. But it's 2 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to go from 2 until about 5:30 or so. I would say it's a very intense program, maybe even as much as 6 o'clock. Also, I want to add, I'm working on getting a sound permit for a rally on Monday because I'd like to take advantage of people coming in, being here Monday to go to one of the major news organs with a crowd of people to insist that they stop blacking out our campaigns and that they tell the truth about what's going on in the world. And while we're all here, I would appreciate if Scott can share with us again the why, because I don't think the danger has lessened as we go into the election cycle or the BRICS summit, which is starting today actually in Kazan. And I think that may be the thing that these warmongers are actually really terrified about.
Scott?
Well, I mean, the why is easy. The world is threatening to self-destruct at the behest of the United States and Israel. That's why American elections are so important right now, because we're getting ready to elect as the commander, and somebody who will be the commander in chief for the next 4 years. And I know there's people out there who will say, "Oh my God, neither one of them is very good," and all that. I don't give a damn what your analysis is. I don't care what your analysis is. I deal with reality. One of two of them is going to be president of the United States. One of two of them. So the question is, do you want to just roll over and pee on yourself like a scared puppy, or are you going to do something about it? I believe in going down fighting. I'm not saying there's a guarantee that we'll be able to do something to get policy change, but I will say this: we've already shown that through Operation Dawn, we have the potential to inject sanity into the national debate about nuclear war, about the conflict in Ukraine. We already have seen from the Republican side an op-ed published on the Hill, which talks about this. And what I'm hoping to do is through events such as what's going to take place on the 26th and 27th is put pressure on, for instance, Jill Stein, see if she would be able to articulate something. I mean, is she a player or not? Does she want to be a player or not? Um, and also to put pressure on Kamala Harris to articulate about what her plans are, so that when we get to November 5th and we go into that booth and we pull that lever or push that button or whatever you do to vote, um, you'll at least say the person I'm voting for is the one that I believe will, be best positioned to prevent a nuclear conflict or to prevent the ongoing assault on free speech that's taking place, or to prevent the demise of American democracy. So that's the goal and objective. And then of course we the presidents don't operate alone. Now we're not allowed to talk about Diane's campaign in some venues, but it's Sarah for Senate. We know she's running. We know Jose's running for Congress. That what I'm trying to say is that there are alternatives out there to the status quo. You don't have to vote for the Gillibrands of the world, especially if you're looking to change things. You don't have to vote for, I think Jose's the opponent is Torres. Is that his last name?
Yes, that's
Uh,
right.
yeah, you don't have to vote for these people. We're not a prisoner of decisions made by others. We get to make our own decisions, and we have alternatives out there for Senate and for Congress that can change up the mix up, bring in new thinking, people who are aligned with the basic notions of saving democracy, saving America, saving the world through the vote in November, Operation Dawn principles. So. This is existential, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, maybe we'll make it to November. That would be nice, but we don't know. It's a very dangerous situation right now. BRICS is beginning today. Will the Israelis launch an attack against Iran designed to disrupt that? What would such an attack look like? What the consequences of such an attack would be? Um, we now have several members of NATO. The French now coming out with a brilliant new initiative to empower the Ukrainians to launch deep strikes backed by NATO into Russia. That just guarantees a Russian nuclear response to France, NATO, and the United States, and we all die. Guys, this is as real as it gets. I don't know what the hell you're doing this weekend. You have one of two choices. My understanding is the weather's going to be fantastic. Go outside, take your family for a walk in the park, understanding it may be the last damn walk in the park you ever take in your life. And if that's how you want to spend the rest of your life, do it. Or you can get off your ass and do something to empower people who are trying to make the changes necessary to save your life. And that's what Diane and Jose are doing on Saturday night. And that's what all of us are trying to do on Sunday. Now, if you can't be there, I understand that. It's New York City. But we will get the message out to you. The question is, what are you going to do with that message? How are you going to behave? It's our job to empower you with knowledge and information. It's our job to be compelling in the sale of our product. But it's your job to be receptive. It takes two to tango. We will do our best. I'm sure Diane will, Jose will, I will do our best to articulate, the concerns we have. Everybody on this panel is going to be pouring their heart and soul into saving your life. Respect that. Respect that. You don't have to agree with it. That's okay. Respect the fact that you have a whole bunch of people who make a difference in the world that we live in, who are willing to give up their Saturday and Sunday to try and make a difference to save your life, because that's what this is about. This isn't fun and games, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't, trying to score cheap political points. It's about saving your life. And what are you going to do to help make this work? It's teamwork. Diane, Jose, myself, and all the others are putting ourselves on the line here to create opportunities to have a citizenry empowered with knowledge and information so you can make the right choice in November. The question is, are you willing to be empowered? Are you willing to make the right choice? And I'm hoping that you are. And if you are, then either come on the 26th and 27th or tune in when the opportunity is put out there and then help get the message out there. One of the things about doing podcasts, as Jose said, we get the message out there. Do your best to expand on that, comment on it, get it out to your social networks. In this way, we keep talking about, you keep hearing about, Million Man March. The day of the Million Man March, frankly speaking, is probably over. Governments made it almost impossible for you to get 1 million people in the streets. But what we can do Saturday and Sunday is have the 10 million, the 20 million, the 30 million people who have been empowered by this. We can reach out and get this information to more people using social media, using alternative media, than you could ever get with the physical, the physical limitations of putting 1 million people together in one place. So we have a chance to be far more effective than CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC if the team works together. Diane's talked about how you can go to her place. Again, I'll remind you that this place is the event is on Sunday. We have advertised it, so but just so you know, Diane, there is security there, so don't worry. But it's the Tudor City Steakhouse at 45 Tudor City Place, New York. It's right across from the United Nations. You have to have a ticket to get in or be on the list. You can't just show up and expect to get in. That's not how this works. There will be security, and if you don't have a ticket, if you can't prove that you bought a ticket, your name's not on the list, you're not getting in. That's because A, the size dictates that reality, and B, security dictates that reality. There are people out there who don't support what we're doing. So there will be real security there. You will not get in. That is a guarantee. But we want you to be there. So buy the ticket, arrive, and you will be, it starts at 10 o'clock. From 10 to 11, we have a buffet. It seats 75 at a time. So if you get there early, eat, and then you can go and sit down and talk in the meeting room while other people eat. And by 11 o'clock, we hope that everybody's appetite is sated. We have a little bit of flexibility there. But once everybody has had their fair share of food, we'll begin. There's 3 panels. Each panel will go about 45 minutes. And they'll be moderated. There'll be introductory statements. The moderator will ask questions. We'll turn it over to the crowd. They can ask questions, and then we move on. By the time you finish, you will have basically been exposed to some of the finest thinking, political thinking, and military thinking, and constitutional thinking available in America today. So it's pretty damn big value for the price.
So what, Diane, say where it's gonna be again and how they could see it on social media.
That people should go to the website vegasairpeacefund.org. I'll put it so you know how to spell it, vegasairpeacefund.org. Saturday at 2 o'clock, the general area is Lower Manhattan. And people can get their tickets there, and then it will be on the My Sair for Senate YouTube channel, and Jose may stream from X or something. We'll get that all figured out. If you register or you're international, let us know, because there's a Zoom link for international guests on Saturday. That's Saturday at 2 o'clock, 2 until 5:30-ish or 6.
Scott, you will be streaming live on the internet on Sunday, right?
No, our plan is not to stream live because we're going to isolate each panel into its own product, and we're going to put in some professional graphics and things like that. So we'll be releasing the videos of these panels sometime later in the week.
Okay. And people who are on social media will be able to see them, right?
Again, we operate under the concept of the family of podcasts. Almost everybody that we're inviting to participate as a speaker has their own podcast, has their own way of getting information out. That's why I'm saying that, when you bring in Judge Napolitano with 500,000 followers, Danny Haiphong with damn near 500,000 followers, I've got, 420 followers on X. By the time you add all this stuff and the potential to put it out there, yeah, we're going to be able to reach out and touch millions of people with this by getting it out on social media.
Well, all I can say is to you guys, the best of luck, and I hope you guys are a success, which I'm sure you will be. So we shall talk again. We'll talk after the election about the all the stuff that you did and how well people are listening to it. So you've been listening to Diane Sayre, Jose Vega, and Scott Ritter. And if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys, and thank you everybody for listening. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.